Well, finally, we get an update to some of Stadia's features, as all we've talked about is games lately, and we're going to go ahead and take a close look at 9to5 Google, who has done yet another APK teardown, and as you guys know, these codes bring juicy info as to what Stadia is working on behind the scenes. Some notable things that we're going to talk about in this video is Uplay Plus, an update how YouTube streaming might look, Stadia notifications, and some more details on Stadia messaging. We also have a new game coming to Stadia down the line and a release date for a big AAA title early next year. So we'll cover all that in this video, so make sure you're subscribed for your daily dose of Stadia and cloud gaming news, as well as smash that like button. As always, when looking at these teardowns, just remember none of this is official just yet, so these can change and Stadia can scrap whatever they are working on. But 9to5 Google definitely has some juicy things. We're going to start this with Uplay Plus. Now, not a lot here so far. We have two lines with Ubisoft, the Uplay Plus subscription service, and the Uplay Plus games. Now, this obviously just further cements their readying the app to handle the Uplay Plus subscription service when it finally does come to Stadia. Like always though, I want you guys to keep in mind, when this service does drop, I think it's going to be a collection of games that we currently have that are from Ubisoft and the ones that we're getting in the future. I don't think they're going to port their entire library over. Granted though, this is just my guess, but I feel it's a pretty educated guess. Either way, I personally hope this means we might be seeing Uplay Plus sometime this year at the very minimum, but we'll see. Alright, moving on, YouTube streaming doesn't seem to be as close as I was hoping for, and maybe I am wrong again here on that, but we finally get an idea of what they're going to be instituting with certain types of features, and it looks like there will be some form of a restricted scene recording feature. There is lines for it won't show in captures or live streams, restricted scene, and notifications for when you do restrict a scene. Now this could be useful for when you don't want to divulge spoilers to your audience in maybe a single player game, or maybe you're trying to get into a certain lobby and you're not wanting other people to see what you're doing in regards to what lobby you're choosing in a multiplayer type game. Now this is actually pretty nice and eliminates the need for extra scenes through OBS or Streamlabs OBS. Either way, while I would have liked to have seen more meat and potatoes here, it feels as though this feature still might be some time away. But like always, I can definitely be wrong here. I've been wrong before, but I've also been right. Feels like this one still has some time to go. For the next two, we have notifications and messaging. Now, notifications are simply just to alert your phone when Stadia gets things like new features or game invites or sales or anything along those lines. And I personally love this and something that I would have utilized by now. It's amazing that we're barely seeing something like this almost a year later. We also got lines for messaging, which at this point I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing, but I expect messaging at this point to be released any day now, as we've seen enough of these by now to get the point, and it is something that I do get asked about frequently, and honestly it's a basic function that Stadia has lacked, and that's just the ability to message each other freely, and that is key to building healthy multiplayer, which is something Stadia needs. At this point though, I do expect messaging to launch absolutely any day now, maybe even early this week. Alright, with all that said, let's cover two games real quick that we won't see until next year, and one of them at least has a release date, but we're going to start this with Little Nightmares 2. It's listed on the Bandai Namco website with a release date 11/2/21 for the current generation of consoles, but Stadia has a later date in 2021, which is interesting considering we're talking November of next year. This is a title that I would definitely look forward to, as I have enjoyed the first one, but it's good to see even if it is slightly delayed, and it might not be delayed for long. And the next title that we have here is a franchise that I have been talking a lot about recently, and that is that we have a release date for Hitman 3 coming January 20th, with pre-orders going live at some point before the release for Stadia. Now, as I've stated a few times, I am a huge fan of the Hitman games. since I was a child. You're probably not gonna find someone more hyped for this come January 20th, but I'm glad we have some titles to look forward to right at the start of the year, and you probably will see me really giddy for that. Alright, and the last news that I wanted to touch on real quickly, as this just broke, it looks as though the price for Google Sabrina might have been leaked here by Home Depot, and it has now since been deleted. The price is listed at $49.99, which is way cheaper than I thought it would have been. Now, we don't know what the capabilities of Sabrina will have when it comes to Stadia, but we're all expecting at least some form of alternative device to the Chromecast Ultra. And even if this happens to not do much else than the current Chromecast, this would at least provide a cheaper option at the minimum. Soon as I find word on what Sabrina will actually do in regards to Stadia, you guys will know, and I'll let you know ASAP. But I fully expect this device to, at the very minimum, run the platform. Whether we'll get some form of improvements is still unknown, and it's really the million-dollar question. But alright guys, with today's news of Stadia features and subscriptions like Uplay Plus, what are your thoughts on us getting Uplay Plus by the end of the year? Do you think it's possible? Also, let me know if you have any more thoughts on the rest of the APK teardowns. Also, let me know if you guys are hyped at all for Hitman 3 or Little Nightmares 2. I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say. Like always, subscribe if you're new and you're looking for that daily content of Stadia and cloud gaming. Like always, I'm Sunny, and I'll see you guys in the cloud.